Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. Our group, which is Group 8, is here today to present about Piaget's stages of cognitive development. But before we begin, let me introduce our group members. First, we have myself, Emir, followed by Sabrina, then Alisa, and lastly we have Diana. Before we dive deeper into the topic, let's start with the introduction. Jean Piaget, a renowned Swiss psychologist, developed the theory of cognitive development, which suggests that as children grow, their intelligence undergoes changes. Cognitive development in children is not only related to acquiring a knowledge, but also involves building or developing a mental model of their surrounding world. Jean Piaget proposed a theory of cognitive development that outlines four different stages of learning. The first stage is the sensory-motor stage, followed by the pre-operational stage. Then we have the concrete operational stage, and finally the formal operational stage. To provide a detailed explanation of each stage, my group members will be presenting their insights.
So, Assalamualaikum and hello. For the first stage in Piaget theory, we have sensory motor period. So, the sensory motor stage is the earliest in Piaget theory of cognitive development. The sensory motor stage is the period of development from birth to 2 years old. During this initial phase of development, children will utilize skills and abilities and which they will bond with, such as look, listening, and grasping to learn more about the environment. In other words, infants and young children will experience the world and gain knowledge through their senses and their motor movements. Through trial and error, children will discover more about the world around them. So, in sensory motor period, we have object permanence. Object permanence is a child understanding that object continues to exist even though they cannot be seen or heard. So, according to Piaget, developing object permanence is one of the most important accomplishments at the sensory motor stage of development. So, imagine a game of peekaboo, for example. A very young infant will believe that the other person or object has actually vanished and will act shocked when the object reappears. But the older infants who understand object permanence will realize that the object continues to exist even when unseen. So this is the classic example of how during this stage an infant knowledge of the world is limited to his or her sensory perceptions and motor activities. So that's all from me. Thank you.
So now, I will be talking about pre-operational period. This stage occurs from the age of 2 to 7 years old, and children continue to develop their abstract brain processes and build on object permanence at this period of development. They also imagine and think symbolically, and they begin to display this ability through their language and behavior. At this stage, we will be focusing on three things. First is animism. Animism is the belief that inanimate objects are capable of actions and have lifelike qualities. And the second is egocentrism. In early childhood, it refers to the tendency of young children not to be able to take the perspective of others, and instead, the child thinks that everyone sees, thinks, and feels just as they do. And lastly, centration. It is the act of focusing all attention on one characteristic or dimension of a situation while disregarding all others.
So this is the first row. This is second. Okay. Do they have the same amount of money?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, what if you do it like this? Does it still have the same amount?
No.
No. Which one is small?
Yes.
Okay, so now if I do it like this, is it different?
No.
No. It's the same. Okay. Okay. So now we have a bunch of pens here. Do they have the same amount of pens?
Yes.
Okay, so if I do it like this, do they feel the same?
No.
Why? Why do you think so? Which one is a lot more?
Yes.
Okay, if I do it this way, is it the same?
No.
No. Which one is more? Which one is less?
Yes.
This one is more. Less. Okay. Then if we put it back in the original position, so is it the same?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so let's move on to the next stage, which is the stage of Piaget development, which is concrete operational stage. So what is concrete operational stage? Concrete means physical thing and operational means a logical way of operating or thinking. To put it together, it is beginning to think logically and rationally but tends to be limited thinking about physical objects. During this stage, children develop the ability to think logically about concrete events and objects, but they still struggle with abstract or hypothetical concepts. They are compensating for changes and seeing from another point of view. Children in this stage can engage in mental operations such as conservation, classification, reversibility, and seriation. A concrete operational stage usually happens to 7 years old to 11 years old children. So let's see some of the video regarding the operation about conservation and reversibility.
Okay, dekat sini kita ada Aryan berumur 8 tahun dan ni Ayash berumur 6 tahun. So hari ni we are going to create an experiment. So okay, awak tengok Shuna buat apa, okay? Okay, cuba tengok kat sini. Ayash, okay. Tengok kat sini. Kuantiti air ni sama tak? Sama tak? Banyak? Sama banyak tak? Okay, sama banyak Betul sama banyak?
Betul.
Okay, kalau Shuna letak dekat sini. Okay, air mana lagi banyak?
Ni.
Yang ni lagi banyak?
Banyak.
Betul ke?
Betul. Dok.
Rasa sama ke lagi banyak?
Yang banyak.
Air ni lagi banyak?
Ha.
Shuna rasa sama lah dua ni.
Dok.
Apa ni? Ini lagi banyak?
Ha. Cuba tengok.
Sebab apa lagi banyak? Cuba Ayah jawab. Kenapa ni lagi banyak? Kenapa cakap lah? Abang, kenapa air ni lagi banyak?
Dia tak banyak sebenarnya. Sikit. Dia sama besar.
Dia sama besar? Dia
Tak,
sama banyak je?
Dia sama banyak. Sebab yang ni kan pendek. So kita ambil air ni, dia sama. Kalau kita letak sini, dia jadi macam ni.
Oh, sebab yang ni dia punya cawan ni lagi tinggi.
Ha.
Macam tu?
Tak,
Lagi pendek?
Tak, dan ni besar. Ini kecil. Sebab tu dia macam banyak.
Okay, so sebenarnya kuantiti dia sama. Dia punya volume sama. Okay, ni second eksperimen kita. Dekat sini Shuna letak RM5. Okay, dekat sini. Berapa ringgit ni? Berapa ringgit ni?
Sikit.
Cuba tengok betul-betul. Berapa ringgit ni? Okay, RM5. Yang mana lagi banyak?
Ni.
Yang ni lagi banyak? Ayah cakap yang ni lagi banyak.
Ni tak banyak. Sama je.
Sama je dua ni?
Sebab kita kira 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okey.
Tapi kalau yang banyak, kita tambah. Ambil 5, tambah kat sini.
Okay, so ni RM5, ni RM5. Sama banyak? Okay. Okay, tadi awak cakap RM5 ni sama banyak kan? Okay, kalau Cuna letak ni kat tepi, RM5 Cuna tambah sini. Ya, okay. Yang mana lagi banyak? Betul ke yang ni lagi banyak?
Betul. Sama.
Ayah saya cakap sama ke banyak?
Sama.
Sama?
Alah, I cakap banyak tadi.
Okay, abang Yan cakap sama. Kenapa sama?
Sebab yang ni 5 tambah 5, 10.
Okay, pandai.
Bye.
So for the first video, conservation can be seen. Children can understand the concept of conservation, which means that changing one quality, in the example height or water level, can be compensated for by changes in another quality, which is width. Consequently, there is the same amount of water in each container, although one is taller and narrower and the other one is shorter and wider. Knowing that a quantity doesn't change if it's been altered. So for the second video, for the second task, which reversibility can be seen, the child learns that some things that have been changed can be returned to their original state. Many of these cognitive skills are incorporated into the school's curriculum through mathematical problems and in worksheets about which situations are reversible or irreversible.
Here I am to explain the formal operational stage, which is the last stage of cognitive development. During the formal operational, individuals acquire an increased ability to think logically, use deductive reasoning, and understand abstract concepts. This stage is typically observed in adolescents and young adults who become capable of considering multiple potential solutions to problems and thinking more scientifically about the world around them. The hallmark of this stage is the ability to think about abstract ideas and situations. Additionally, this stage enables individuals to systematically plan for the future and reason about hypothetical situations, which are critical abilities. Let's see an example of a video.
Okay, so the first situation is if you hit the glass with feather, it will break. And Ali hits the glass with feather, what will happen? The glass will break.
Piaget developed the cognitive development theory to understand how children retain knowledge. The theory is based on the belief that children acquire knowledge as they interact with the environment. It consists of four stages that build on each other. During the sensoromotor stage, children show their intelligence through motor activity without using symbols. In the pre-operational stage, intelligence is demonstrated through the use of signs, language, comprehension, and imagination. The concrete operational stage sees intelligence demonstrated through the manipulation of symbols related to concrete objects. And finally, in the formal operational stage, intelligence is demonstrated through the logical application of symbols related to abstract concepts. That concludes our presentation for today, so thank you very much.